Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm in the backyard. I have truly been busy. Um, let's take a garden walk. This is my lettuce that I started from seeds. I call it a bowl of lettuce. I just come out and pick what I need to make my salad and cut and come again. There are things on the deck that needs to be done, but I wanted to share with you for the month of May what's going on. This is my cannas. These are my cannas that I overwinter in the garage. They're starting to leaf up, and I also have the nasturtiums that will cascade around the cannas. In a previous video, I showed you how I divided my hostas, and they're doing well. I've actually had the opportunity to bring out the garden furniture. Um, some of the chairs I've actually spray painted with Rust-Oleum, and I'm happy. My tablescape is simple from last year, which includes the lime green and paisley blue decor. This year I'm using my glass leftover from the yogurt that I eat. I've added coffee beans and a candle, tea light candle, leftover from the Christmas holiday. In the evening, gives off a nice ambiance. It also repels mosquitoes. The coffee beans naturally will do that. So, talking about the Christmas candles left over, I also want to share with you my amaryllis. This is my amaryllis from the Christmas holiday. It is now outside, taking up real estate in my backyard, and I have seeded it with alyssum. I have osmocot for fertilizing, as well as adding to my water soluble fertilizer. Continue to do your amaryllis until October. Stop watering and feeding it, and cut off the leaves. By that time, it will have absorbed all of the necessary energy that it needs for to bloom again come the Christmas holiday. This is new in my backyard. It is two obelisks that I purchased, and I have inside of the obelisk some creeping Jenny that cascades around the bottom of the pot. My plant that I bought in from last year, and I also have a purple, they call it passion flower inside this container. So the passion flower, I've started it from seed, so once it germinates, it should cast up the side of the obelisk. I have two here. There's this area here. I also have a canna, which is also surrounded by some nasturtiums, and hopefully they will also cascade over the top of the container and spill out. This year I've chose a coleus by proven winners, and it is called, let's get the tag out, I want to make sure I get the name right. It is called Color Blaze. Let's see if I can get that in focus. Ridiculous. So ridiculous. It's supposed to give me that red color. I just recently planted those. When it starts to send up more shoots, then I'll pinch off the top to encourage the plant to fill out, the coleus to fill out into the container. I also have at the bottom of the area. So this is the lantana. I have 3 varieties. It's a lavender, white, and I believe the other one is pink. And I usually just give them a dose of, and they're new plants, but when I have my plants in pots, I like to use the Osmocot indoor and out fertilizer. It doesn't burn the plant, so I like to add that to the pot so they have all of the nutrients that it needs in order to thrive throughout the summer months. So things are starting to come into bloom. I'm still waiting on a few more plants. I want to have all of my planting done by the end of June because after that it just gets too hot. I also have my hydrangeas. And this acts as a natural fence for the area while I'm sitting on the patio. And then there's something else that I need to work on. I need to level off the fountain so I can get that started for the summer months. My goal this year is to bring in more of the burgundy, dark purple plants to the garden. This here is already showing its flower. This is a elderberry. I have 2 elderberry plants. These are my Bobo hydrangeas. I also have started. I do need to add a netting over the collards because you see a white butterfly in your backyard. That is a butterfly that normally lays its eggs on the plant and it will eat the leaves of the plant. So I want to protect my collards. I've also added my geraniums to the containers. I also have the fertilizer in there. This is Osmocot, so it loves the heat, and when it heats up, it normally fertilizes the plant. So the Osmocot will keep these beauties all summer long. I have my tom-tom tomatoes in, and alongside of the tom-toms, I believe I've added as a companion to prevent it from being attacked by insects. Seeds for radishes. This is my Swiss chard. The Swiss chard is looking very good. I may do a companion planting. I have to do some research and see what I can also add to that container to prevent any of the insects from attacking it. I could probably just put some marigolds in there and it would do just fine. So I showed you my Bobo hydrangeas. I have some containers that I need to pot up. This is an empty container, so I'll make use of that. And this one is also an empty container. I'll do a video on that at a later time. It is early in the morning, so the solar pump is not up yet, but by midday, it definitely will be. I had tulips in this area, and what I've allowed the tulips to do is die back naturally. So now I can cut the tulips to the very end, and in front of the tulips, I have marigolds. The marigolds is a natural repellent for most of the insects. This is my limelight hydrangea, and it's doing well. Beginning of the year, I've added a uh, all-purpose fertilizer, so it should be in bloom in a few weeks or so. I did do something different, and I'm still working on it. Like I said, it's early in the morning, but I've actually added some. Let's see if I can zoom in. I've added some plants to my solar pump. I use this plant, but I believe I would do better if I added something that will cascade over the side. So I'm still working on that. I'll come back at a later time. This is a beautiful plant right here. There's still weeding in the back that I need to do. Um, this is my Americana that I started last year, uh, and it's doing well. We've had a dry spell in our area, so a lot of things I'm just self-watering, but come July, I'll set it up on drip irrigation. I'll do the drip irrigation and allow them to water the plants. This is all of my echinacea coneflowers. They'll definitely be in bloom soon. This is a project behind me. When I first started the garden in the backyard, I had two plants that I put in. They're about to flower, but come the fall of the year, I'm going to remove them and bring them forward so that they can also shine a little better. They're sitting too far in the back. Here is my phlox. The phlox are almost ready to bloom. As you can see over on this side, the phlox is in all of its glory. I believe these are white phlox here. These are white phlox here. And then these go back to the pink, I believe. I can't remember. Um, Last year, if you recall, I removed this grass here and divided it. I've added it to another location in the garden, and that looks really well. Over on this side, I've added my nasturtiums to the container. Just whimsical, something different. This is a find that I picked up. It didn't have the cushion in the chair, but I added a pot, and the nasturtium will be in bloom all summer long. To be honest with you, the nasturtium, you can eat not only the flower, but the leaf of the plant if you choose to. I have my uh, hydrangeas here. They've actually grown. They've actually grown. Let me go from this angle. You might be able to see it a little better. And they're actually shading out my butterfly bushes. So my project, they're underneath. The butterfly bushes are actually underneath. So my project is to dig out the butterfly bushes, give them a new home, and allow the hydrangeas to continue to bloom. Over on this side, my project for a later video is these are the sprinter boxwoods. I wanted to make a hedge with the sprinter boxwoods, and they're starting to um, develop a lot better. This is their second, maybe going on their third year. So I want to make a natural hedge of the boxwood, and right behind the boxwood are alliums. I want the alliums to stand up over top of the boxwoods come uh, each season. That's a calla lily. I have a calla lily here that's also doing well. So those are the things that I have in this area. This is my David Austin rose. It is starting to trail up over the arbor, and that's looking well. And as it grows, it'll bloom this will bloom this year. It already has buds on it, but it's not going to completely cover the arbor this year. But next year it'll definitely be in bloom. Behind the boxwood and the alliums, these are my hibiscus. They will definitely start to shoot up, and that's going to be the third layer. So the first layer will be the boxwood, the second layer will be the alliums, and then the very top will be the hibiscus. And I also have a tree that's growing in it. It's doing very well, and I'm just going to allow it to do its thing this year. I may trim it up, but that's doing well. Over on this side, I've created, and I'm trying to get my shadow out of the way. Over on this side, I actually added an extra space for my melon that hasn't germinated yet, but there's a melon that I started. I think it was on, it says May the 6th, so there's plenty of time. Once the melon emerges, it will have the full run of this area to vine out. And I've added nasturtiums and marigolds to help prevent any disease from attacking the watermelon. This is a hydrangea. This is my little statue. So there are some clematis. This is my clematis. It's on the fence. It's ready to bloom. Let's see if I can get in there. It's all in bloom. And this is the area that I had a tree. It shaded most of the area in the backyard. But now that the tree is gone, the hostas are doing what it's supposed to do. It's covering the stump of the tree. But I have a gora plant that I have a pot in the center back here that I want to place the gora plant, and over top of the hostas, the gora plant will have their spikes sent up that will look like butterflies. It just blows in the wind. So I'm working on that, and this is, I believe that's a bee balm that I have. I have to rearrange this area since the tree came down, but most likely that won't happen until the fall of the year. So I do have other alliums in this area. I have one here, 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 and here. They're starting to grow, so at some point I will divide the alliums just to keep them in a nice, neat area. I have on the back fence, some poles, and I have some pots, and the pots will hold the dahlias that it's still early in the season, so the dahlias are not going to produce yet the flowers, but I just sank the pots into the ground. That way at the end of the season, we're in zone 7A, and I'm not able to overwinter my dahlias in the ground, so they will come up. I miss um, the wisteria when it was in bloom. They had beautiful, beautiful pink flowers, and I have three of those in this area, so I'll keep that in the area. And on the other side, I've actually created a border using bricks that I caught on sale at Lowe's. And this is last year's project that I've actually separated, which will be behind the husband's grill. The hosta's there. And I also have, this is butterfly weed. It doesn't have any flowers on it yet. I do see a few down inside here. So it's started these inside under grow lights. Over on the other side, I think I started this project in the fall with you. It was nothing but a shrub that once it drops its leaves. I love the variegated look on it. But once it drops its leaf during the winter months, the branches turn all bright and red. This is the lanium. Um, it's doing well. I think I want to cut it back a little and just allow it to take over this area of the yard. Again, I've added more of the pavers here that come the fall of the year, I'm going to sink those into the ground. So right now they're sitting on top, and that's just my garden walk. So there are a lot of projects that I need to uh, continue, and yeah, I didn't talk about the ores that I have inside of the pots on the deck here, on the patio here. I am going to eventually cut this down. It'll come back year after year. But in the center, to keep the pattern going of the burgundies and the uh, dark foliage, such as this wisteria, to keep with the pattern of the dark foliage, such as the wisteria, the coleus. I have a burgundy or dark color elephant ear that once I remove these from the pot, I'll add. Eventually, they will cascade inside. I have one on each side, so that's my plan. I did show you the butterfly weed on the other side. That was the seeds that I saved from this plant here, and it's also ready to bud up. This is the actual plant. This is actually the host plant for the butterfly, the monarch butterfly. And I like to encourage more monarch butterflies. I'm just going to continue to do my best to help bring the butterfly out of extinction. Over on the tree over there, oh, I think it's, let's see if I can get it in there. There's a hummingbird. I was trying to bring it into focus, but it's hummingbirds move fast. But anyway, it was in the backyard. So there's still a lot to do in my garden. It's still early in the year. The temperature needs to be between 40 and 50 degrees consistently in the soil for everything to bloom and to come into season. But right now, I'm just taking a little bit at a time. I didn't want to share with you just me always potting up plants, but give you an idea of actually what's going on in my garden. This year I've added some hydrangea cushions. I was on, I believe it was Plow and Hearth website, and they had the amazing lime and dark green, which I felt would go great with my decor. So I picked up 4 of the pillows, and I am in fact loving it. I didn't mention my sedum. The sedum, it's a workhorse. Even if I forget to water the sedum, it still manages to thrive. I did pop a few seeds of the nasturtium. I love the nasturtiums. That's probably one of my go-to seeds every year. Just soak your nasturtiums in uh, calamine tea, um, and for about a few hours, and then take and place them into your containers. So you will see the nasturtiums um, throughout my garden. So I'm just going to sit outside, finish drinking my cup of coffee, and get my day started. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for watching my video. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, happy gardening.